What's up, guys? Mike Olson, along with my partner, as always, Justin Moody. We are the Moody Olson team, and this is our channel, Moving to Las Vegas. Today, we are bringing you the next in our series of Vegas versus videos. Today, we're doing one I'm very excited about because this is a city I've spent just a bunch of time in. Las Vegas versus Nashville, Tennessee. Music City, guys. I'm really stoked to bring you this video. Let's get right into it. As you guys know, when we do these Vegas versus videos, what we do is we compare Las Vegas to another city across 6 metrics. We talk about the cost of living, the cost of housing, the job market, the crime statistics, outdoor living, and dining and nightlife. So we're gonna get right into it. Why don't you start us off, Justin? We are real estate agents after all, so let's go ahead and start with the housing market.
The housing market, yeah. I was really kind of surprised at the housing market. I knew Nashville was a growing city and it was a very popular destination. Tennessee in general is one of the fastest growing states in the country, and Nashville's definitely one of those cities that are growing quickly. Right now, the average house in Nashville is going to cost you about $480K.
That is, by West Coast standards, that's pretty affordable, but by the standards of the South, that's a pretty good.
I was really shocked.
Yeah, that's not cheap.
No, and that's, your standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. That's going to range anywhere from about 1,600 square feet to 2,100 square feet. And those homes are sitting on the market for about 46 days. Now, they do sell for about 2% less than the listing price. So the listing price is going to be, right around probably $495.
And so just for reference for the audience, how long are the houses in Vegas on the market and what are we selling for compared to the listing price?
Well, and if you compare that, in Vegas right now, our average price is about $425,000.
Okay.
Again, for that same 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, about 1,600 to 2,100 square feet. Now, again, it's going to vary from part of town to part of town, obviously. But right now, that is the average. And our properties are sitting on the market for about 45 days, so very similar to that. And our properties are selling for about 1.5% to 2% under original list price as well. So there's a lot of similarities there. One of the reasons I really had to dig into it, why are the property values so high in Nashville? And I found a big outlier on it. Over 30,000 people moved to the greater Nashville area in 2023.
Yeah, I know that Nashville is definitely a city on the rise.
Yes, 30,000 new people. So most of those people that are moving to Nashville, 26% of the new Nashville residents are from California.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I know that it is one of those locations that is benefiting from the mass exodus of people from California, along with, just off the top of my head, Phoenix, Las Vegas, several cities in Texas,
yes,
and Boise, Idaho, Nashville, Tennessee. It's benefiting from the mass exodus of people who are running away from the negative aspects of living in California.
Yes, and by comparison, Vegas, we got about 15,000 new residents in 2023.
Right on.
Which is actually one of our lower years.
Yeah, and you have to imagine that a lot of that has to do with the interest rates and people being locked in. I know that, even if I lived somewhere that I was eager to get away from, if I'm locked in at a 3% interest rate, chances are I am not too eager to sell my home and move somewhere else, even if that location's more attractive, if it means I'm going to be saddled with an 8 or 9% interest rate.
And keep in mind, the 30,000 people to Nashville and the 15,000 people to Vegas are new home buyers. These aren't people who are moving there and renting or staying with family and friends. Mm-hmm. So those numbers are going to be much higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
So these are just new home buyers to our markets, which again, it just really surprised me, showing that Las Vegas is much more affordable than Nashville. And we'll get into, and I'll let you get into the cost of living in a few minutes, because I'm completely unaware of what the cost of living difference is. So I'd love to find that out. But yeah, so the housing markets are very similar. They have about 2.5 months of inventory in Nashville. Very similar to Las Vegas. We have about 2.6 months of inventory. So we do have a few more houses available than they do in Nashville. But again, Nashville does have a larger footprint than Las Vegas, Henderson, and North Las Vegas.
So I'm just curious, do you know how much new construction is Nashville getting versus, because I know that there's a ton of new construction here in Vegas. Yes. Is Nashville in a similar situation where they're getting that huge boom of new construction, or is it mostly already existing properties on the MLS that are being sold?
So I can't give you exact numbers, but as I was looking, it seemed like there was a lot of new construction. All the big builders' websites were up when I typed in housing in Nashville and started doing my research. So all the big builders are there. One of the advantages that some place like Nashville and the Tennessee area will have is that they have a lot more available land to purchase than we do in Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, we are in a valley, so you can only go so far before you run into a mountain.
Yes.
In pretty much any direction you go in Las Vegas. Although I did see something very interesting, and maybe we'll do a whole video on this coming soon. Matter of fact, I think we should. There is a just approved new development just south of Inspirada, where they're going to be developing several thousand new homes along with some mixed use zoned areas that are going to have entertainment venues and high-end shopping. They're actually saying that the goal is to turn it into the new Summerlin.
Okay.
So,
Well, and then of course you have all the expansion going on in Summerlin now with Summerlin West.
yep, Summerlin West is growing. You guys know we've talked about the new movie studio development that's going on out there. And I also just read about a new development that's going on just west of my house here in the Northwest, where they're going to be expanding out there in that area over near Providence.
Yes.
And they're going to be building a few thousand new homes out there as well.
What the great thing about the expansion is that it's going to offer more affordability. We're starting to see more and more builders build a smaller home, leave a smaller footprint so that it makes it easier for the first-time buyer to get into a home and build equity so they can finally move into their forever home or that larger home as their family expands.
Yeah, I do see a lot of expansion in the townhome market here, and I think that's nothing but a good thing. I think that townhomes are very underrated as a starter home or as a retirement home, or even just as a home for a small family that doesn't need a lot of space. You can offset a lot of your costs by not having to maintain a yard, not having to maintain your own pool, and you have the advantages that come of living in a community like that with the amenities of the HOA. I have pointed a lot of my buyers in the direction of townhomes, and I see that trend increasing as housing prices continue to rise and as more and more people move here and more townhomes are being built.
Yeah, I'm curious, you guys, would you be interested in a townhome? Is townhome something that you would consider, especially if you found that affordability in it? Comment down below, we'd love to know. I'll
be honest, man, when when my kids are grown and out of the house, I would definitely consider a townhome for myself and Stasha when we downsize and we don't need this amount of space that we have here in the house that I live in right now. I think a townhome is a very viable option.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty much the real estate market, Nashville compared to Las Vegas, very similar, but I just definitely feel like there's more affordability here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about the cost of living between the two cities. And I was actually pretty surprised to find out that the cost of living is virtually identical. As always, we're using the NerdWallet cost of living comparison tool. I started off with Nashville, did a little bit of research. I found out that the median household income in Nashville is $79,020 per year. Put that information into the NerdWallet cost of living comparison tool, and what it came back with was if you live in Las Vegas and you want to maintain that same standard of living, you need $78,227. So the cost of living is virtually identical. Now, there is a little bit higher median income in Nashville. You're looking at $79,000 in Nashville as compared to about $65,000 here in Las Vegas. So the median household income is a little bit higher in Nashville. However, you also have to realize we have other things that help offset that, such as no state income tax.
State income tax, gotta
right?
love it.
And keep in mind, that's just the median household income. So your individual household, it really comes down to what you do for a living. But that being said, the cost of living between the two cities is virtually identical. Let's go ahead and break down some of those numbers. So for instance, if you talk about, say, rent, I know Justin already talked about the difference between purchasing a home in Nashville versus purchasing a home in Las Vegas. If we're gonna talk about renting a home, the cost of living comparison tool here uses a 2-bedroom apartment as its example, and the average 2-bedroom apartment in Nashville, $1,729 a month. The average 2-bedroom apartment in Las Vegas, $1,627 a month. Call it a wash, about a 1% difference. If we move down to transportation costs is where Nashville is going to have the largest advantage, and that's simply because gas is more expensive on the West Coast.
Yes.
And that's going to be universally true, whether you're talking about Arizona, Idaho, Nevada, definitely if you're talking about California, Oregon, Washington State, all of these states are gonna have some of the highest gas prices in the nation. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at about a 27% savings if you live in Nashville for your gas as compared to living in Las Vegas. What that looks like is $3.19 a gallon in Nashville versus $4.16 a gallon in Las Vegas. As always, those are not current numbers, those are numbers from the previous year, but it's very indicative of the difference in gas price. Moving on to food, Nashville's also going to have a slight advantage in food cost. It looks like Las Vegas is about 6% higher. I would argue that is a small enough difference that you're probably really not going to notice it unless you live on a very tight budget. So you're talking a difference of a loaf of bread in Nashville, $4.12 versus $4.45 in Las Vegas. Eggs, you're looking at $3.63 for a dozen versus $5.37 in Vegas. A gallon of milk, $4.72 in Nashville, $4.83 in Vegas. A 12-inch Pizza Hut pizza is $10.79 versus $11.99 in Vegas. And a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese, $5 in Nashville versus $3.79 in Vegas. So your Mickey D's is going to be cheaper here in Vegas. Everything else,
that wins it for me. I just need my double quarter pounder. I'm good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I mean, we have In-N-Out, so
this is very true.
That's worth it for me right there. True. You have no In-N-Out in Nashville. Now I know that's not for everybody, but it matters to this guy.
We might get a lot of blowback on that.
Yeah, I'm willing to take it. Moving on, let's talk about the entertainment cost. So you're looking at 12% lower in Vegas. So our entertainment costs tend to be lower. For a movie ticket, $14.61 in Nashville versus $13 in Vegas. Yoga class, $19.86 in Nashville versus $16.67 in Vegas. And a 6-pack of Heineken is $9.91 in Nashville versus $10.12 in Vegas. So again, guys, we're talking a difference that's small enough, unless you're living on a fixed income, unless you're living on a very, very tight budget, the cost of living difference between these two cities is small enough, in my mind, as to be irrelevant, you know. And that's not to diminish the hardship of somebody who is living on a fixed income. Of course, we hope everybody is doing as good as possible, and we want everybody to have a life of abundance. But for the purpose of this video, we're talking about a very small difference in cost of living from one city to another. The final category that we're going to talk about here is healthcare cost, and it is 6% lower in Las Vegas versus Nashville. The examples given here are a doctor's visit averages $114.20 in Nashville, $109.60 in Vegas. Cost of a dental visit is $107.50 in Nashville, $96.65 in Vegas. Cost of an optometrist visit, $107.42 in Nashville, $96.67 in Vegas. And finally, the cost of Lipitor, which is the drug they use to indicate the difference in cost of pharmaceuticals. We're looking at $492.53 in Nashville versus $468.98 in Vegas. So again, very, very similar in the day-to-day expenses that you're going to need to pay to just exist and to just, you know, have a good life. So I would say cost of living, talking about a lot. We're gonna move on to the next topic here, and Justin's gonna tell us how we're gonna afford that cost of living. He's gonna talk a little bit about the job market.
The job market in Nashville is really doing very well. It's very strong. Just like in Las Vegas, it is about 2% higher than the national average as far as job growth, and their unemployment rate about 1% below national average. So the job market there is doing well. Some of their top employers, it's going to be very similar to Vegas in that Nashville does have a huge hospitality industry, but you also have a lot of corporate offices of companies in the Nashville area, and you see more and more moving there, just like we see more and more moving to Nevada because we are business friendly. So some of the top employers are Bridgestone Tire. And you have Asurion, which is an insurance company. Do you know what they insure?
I have bought their policies before to cover, I want to say I used it for a laptop.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I actually think, not this camera, but I think the camera that I use for my photography business has an Asurion policy.
There you go. So that there are a couple of top employers. Also, you have Nissan has a headquarters there, and then you have several large healthcare companies there, like HCA Healthcare and Community Health Systems. They're some of the top employers there.
Well, let's not forget that the entire country music industry is headquartered there. So
this is very, very true. But I was trying to keep it more
broad.
More broad.
Well, but much like we talk about here in Las Vegas, right? Just because you work in the casino industry doesn't mean you're a blackjack dealer. Just because you work in the country music industry doesn't mean you're a guitar player, right? Those companies need marketing experts. They need accountants. They need IT specialists. They have a huge back-end staff as well, and there's a lot of jobs in that.
And I would argue that there's probably as many aspiring performers and musicians in Nashville that there are in Vegas.
I would argue there might even be more.
I don't know. Vegas seems to just have a huge aspiring artist community.
It does. It's,
musician
you know what?
community. Everywhere you go has a bar and a lounge. So just like Nashville, ours are just like a little bit more spread out because you can get all over the valley and find a bar or a lounge that's going to have live music probably 5 nights a week. So Nashville's job market is very strong. And to talk about Las Vegas' job market, Las Vegas' job market is very strong as well. It is about 3% above the national average as far as job growth. It is predicted to be one of the top 5 job markets in 2024 and 2025.
Nice.
Just because we have so much growth. Now you see more of the corporate jobs in Nashville, entertainment jobs and healthcare jobs in Nashville. In Las Vegas, you're still going to see a lot of hospitality, a lot of hotel, and like you just said, there's a lot of back end on that as far as accounting, marketing, IT, jobs like that. But we also have a huge manufacturing industry, warehouse industry, transportation and distribution industries growing here, as well as healthcare. Now, the interesting thing is this: while Nashville's job market is growing and the unemployment rate is shrinking, Las Vegas's job market is growing even faster, but their unemployment rate is staying about the same. And the reason being is we see a bit more of the retirement community here in Las Vegas than we do in Nashville.
Las Vegas is a snowbird destination, and I don't know to what extent that applies to Nashville, but of course, and you guys know if you're following our channel right now, we're doing an entire series on 55 and up communities. We've already done 3 videos and we still have 3 more, in the
Large
hopper.
communities.
Yeah, so we have just an absolutely huge number of retirement communities here. And of course, those communities are filled with retirees who are not participating in the job market, generally speaking. So that is going to bring our unemployment numbers down. But then again, those people are not unemployed because they can't find a job. They're unemployed because they choose to be unemployed.
Yeah. And I'm not drawing the numbers from...
Much like I hope to be one day.
I'm not drawing the numbers from people who are drawing unemployment because I think that is a misleading number.
Yes.
You have a lot of people who unemployments have expired, different things like that. So I don't draw those numbers from that. I look at the overall statistics. If you want to look at those statistics, if you want to find out more information of what the job market is like in Las Vegas, what the job market is like in Nashville or anywhere in the country, I'm pulling them directly off the Bureau of Labor and Stats.
All right, let's move on. So the next topic, as always, this is our least favorite topic to talk about. We're going to go ahead and mention it anyways because we think it's important to give you guys the most valuable information that you need when you're looking at relocating somewhere. We're going to talk about crime rates and crime statistics. As always, I'm using the US News crime rate data. So I use the same source, unless they just don't have a particular city. I use the same source for every video so that we're always trying to be fair. And we don't belabor the point and we try not to beat up on any one city. We understand every city has its own set of problems and we don't want to be disrespectful to the people who live in those cities, but we do want to give you the raw data. We want to give you the information you need to make a good decision. So that being said, Las Vegas does come out on top this time, which we don't always, and we always give you guys the truth. We're not trying to sugarcoat things here. We don't try to make things look better than they are. We want to be honest because we're trying to develop a relationship of trust with our audience and with our potential clients. So in this particular case, Las Vegas does come out on top. US News uses a crime index of a scale of 1 to 10. Las Vegas comes in at an 8, and it is generally safer than other similarly sized metropolitan areas, whereas Nashville comes in at a 6.8 and has a higher crime rate than other similarly sized metropolitan areas. And those crime rates are broken down into 2 areas, violent crime and property crime. And for violent crime, Nashville has an average of 1,215 violent crimes per 100,000 people every year, while Las Vegas has an average of 517 violent crimes per 100,000 people every year. So less than half. Yeah. So we're quite a bit better on violent crime. So moving on to property crime, Las Vegas comes out ahead on this one as well, with property crime in Nashville coming in at 3,914 per 100,000 people every year, and Las Vegas coming in at 2,924, so about 1,000 less per 100,000 people every year. You're talking about 2 cities that have a population right around 2 million people, so you can do the math on that. The bottom line is Las Vegas has better crime statistics than Nashville. That being said, if I'm being fair to Nashville, I've been to Nashville several times. I've actually spent quite a bit of time in the Nashville area, and Of course, like any other metropolitan city, there's areas that I would be very cautious about going into, but generally speaking, I've spent quite a bit of time in the city and I've never felt unsafe. Anywhere you go, you take appropriate precautions, you make good decisions, chances are you're gonna be just fine. But those are the numbers, now you've got them. Let's go ahead and move on to something a little bit more pleasant to talk about.
Let's do it. You know what? Since we're switching it up, why don't you just keep going?
I will do that. So we're going to go ahead and mix up this time. Normally, Justin covers the nightlife and dining, and I cover the outdoor entertainment. However, I asked Justin if I could do nightlife and entertainment for this particular comparison, simply because I've spent so much time in Nashville, and I've spent a lot of time there enjoying the nightlife and entertainment scene. I actually had a guys' weekend with one of my old Army buddies there. We spent 4 days in Nashville just playing golf, smoking cigars, and eating steaks. That's what we spent 4 days doing.
All right.
And it was fantastic. So, talking about nightlife, we'll go ahead and start with Las Vegas. You guys know Las Vegas is incomparable, right? It is the entertainment capital of the world. You guys know all about it. We tell you about it in every single video. We have the Las Vegas Strip, which is the highest concentration of entertainment in one area anywhere in the world. Every single night of the week, you can go see a show ranging from something like the Blue Man Group to a David Copperfield or David Blaine or Chris Angel. You can go see one of these types of Las Vegas shows. You can also go see any of the number of residencies. I believe right now we have things like Christina Aguilera, Maroon 5. There's some big country music stars.
Garth Brooks.
Is Garth Brooks in residency here right now?
He's coming.
Is he coming? Yeah. So you can go see a major artist in residency here in Las Vegas. And of course, we have a bunch of music festivals here that come through here every year. We have things like the Rockabilly Festival, Viva Las Vegas. We have things like When We Were Young Festival, which has more like pop punk and emo bands. EDC, which is the largest electronic dance festival in the United States. It goes on and on, guys. The entertainment in Las Vegas is just off the charts. Of course, we have Big Four sports. We have the Las Vegas Raiders. We have the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Pretty soon here, we're gonna have the Las Vegas Athletics baseball team. I know there are talks going on about bringing a basketball team, an NBA team here to town. And then we are the home of the UFC. We're the home of the biggest boxing fights in the world outside of maybe Madison Square Gardens. The point being is, entertainment in Las Vegas, unmatched.
Absolutely.
That being said, if there was a city that could even come close to Las Vegas, Nashville would be one of those cities. The entertainment scene in Nashville is absolutely spectacular, starting with Broadway. And if you don't know what Broadway is kind of like Nashville's version of the Strip.
Okay.
Right? So Broadway is where all of the big, famous country music entertainment venues are outside of the Grand Ole Opry, which has moved out to a separate venue, but it used to be in the Ryman Auditorium, which is just right off of Broadway, literally adjacent to Broadway. And then on Broadway, you have places like Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, which is a very famous venue. You have bars owned by people like Blake Shelton. I want to say Toby Keith owned a bar there before he passed away. And the list just goes on and on. And you go to these bars, and it's one of the only places that you can go to outside of Las Vegas where 7 nights a week there is a party. 7 nights a week, live music, jamming out every single night. You can see everything from up and coming acts to major international country music stars. Just no shortage of options when it comes to that. Now, if you don't want to go to Broadway, because much like the Strip in Las Vegas, the Nashville locals don't hang out on Broadway. That's where the tourists go. But they have their own venues that they go to that are the locals scene. And they also get equally great entertainment in those areas. So places like East Nashville. East Nashville is the home of the kind of underground alternative country music scene where you're gonna get artists coming up that you may not hear on the radio, but they're absolutely fantastic. You might see artists like Cody Jinks, or you might see artists like Hank the Third, or like there's all these other artists. I don't know how much you guys are into the alternative country music scene. I'm actually a pretty big fan, so I could start rattling off names. There's a decent chance you may not have heard of them, but you probably should. Sturgill Simpson or Tyler Childers or these types of artists. They're gonna be found away from Broadway, places like East Nashville or some of these other kind of off the beaten track venues that you can go find them in. When it comes to food, Nashville has an amazing food scene. Their primary specialty is going to be kind of a modern twist on Southern cuisine, right? So you're gonna find things like, you know, Nashville hot chicken. That's a thing that's become popular around the country, but it started in Nashville. You're gonna find great steakhouses. You're going to find probably some of the better Mexican food in the South. And I've lived in the South, and it can be hard to find good Mexican food in the South, but you can find it in Nashville.
You're making me hungry.
Well, it is lunchtime, so we gotta wrap this video up so we can have something to eat. Oh shoot, it's almost, yeah, it's lunchtime, guys. The point being is that the entertainment and nightlife scene in Nashville is absolutely top notch. One of the few cities that I would say can even begin to rival Las Vegas. And I would not hesitate for a second to recommend it as a vacation destination or as a place to live. Honestly, I told Justin right before we started filming this video, if I was going to move away from Las Vegas, and if I was even vaguely interested in moving to the South, Nashville would probably be at the top of that list, along with a few other cities that maybe we'll cover in another video. But it's one of the few places in the South that I would be willing to live, and it's because of the great music scene and the great food scene. So that's gonna cover it for dining and nightlife. Justin, I'm gonna throw it back over to you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that outdoor living, outdoor entertainment?
Yeah, it seems kind of fitting for me to cover the outdoor living right now, since I just got back from Idaho, so I feel like a woodsman now.
Based on the photos you sent me, I'm
Yes.
surprised you didn't come back wearing a coonskin cap.
I was thinking about it. I mean, chasing bears and running from cows, it was fantastic. So Tennessee, Nashville specifically, in Nevada, and Las Vegas specifically, they're gonna be completely different.
You don't say.
You don't say. But also very similar. You know, in Vegas, we have great outdoor activities. A lot of people don't even realize all the outdoor activities that we have. You know, we're very close to Lake Mead. We're very close to Havasu. We're almost right on the Colorado River in Laughlin. So there's lots of water activities that you can do here in Las Vegas. We have Lake Las Vegas. So if you wanted to get out on the boat and you want to do jet skis or skiing or, you know, or anything like that, that's available to you. Houseboat rentals on Lake Mojave, about an hour away. So just some beautiful outdoor things that you can do on the water. Now, our lakes are much different than the lakes in Tennessee and in Nashville specifically. These are going to be desert lakes. You know, you're not going to have big trees and forests. You're not going to see deer and moose and antelope running around, you know, or bobcats running around, maybe a bobcat or two. Sorry, Jeff. And then of course we have Mount Charleston, which is just a beautiful place to get away and escape, especially if you want to get out of the Vegas heat. It's 25 to 30 degrees cooler. In the wintertime, they have snowing and snowboarding and sleigh rides. So it's just a great environment to be in. Tennessee's all about hunting and fishing and lakes, right?
Yeah, it is the outdoorsman's paradise,
Yes.
especially if you're a hunter, if you're a fisherman. It's going to beat Las Vegas hands down every day of the week, as is any place in the South.
And really just, you know, just minutes out of Nashville, you have, you know, I think Nashville has 7 lakes within 25 miles of its downtown area.
Yeah, and a river that runs right through the heart of town,
Exactly.
the Cumberland River. Yeah.
So, I mean, plenty of opportunity out there, huge lush forests, golf courses that almost rival Las Vegas. It is a more tempered city. Nashville does have harsher winters. They see more snow and they see more rain than Las Vegas. They see colder temperatures in Las Vegas in the winter. So while it is tempered and it can be a year-round community, it's not going to be as year-round.
You know what Nashville also has, and this is one of the things that would cause me to be quite hesitant to move there: brutal humidity.
You know, this morning I woke up, I went outside and it was overcast. I was like, oh no, we're going to be 110 with humidity.
Yeah.
7% humidity today.
Yeah, you know, that's Las Vegas for you, but
That's about 6% more than I like.
I do just want to it's the same, likewise. I do just want to make one quick comment. As I mentioned before, I have played golf in Nashville. Nashville is a fantastic golf city. There's some great golf there.
Now, and I don't want to bash Nashville. I haven't been there. I've been to the airport.
Okay.
Enjoyed some nice barbecue in the airport too. One thing, and my dad's family being from the South, I feel comfortable in saying this. What Nashville has that Vegas doesn't have are the monster skeeters. We don't have the mosquitoes that Nashville does. And that's a big factor coming. When I was up in Idaho, I had to deal with the mosquitoes. Now, what I did learn about Nevada on my travels last week was Nevada's a huge hunting destination. Mm-hmm. You may have to travel a little bit farther to get into some great hunting country. Instead of maybe 30 minutes to an hour if you're in Nashville, you're looking at more of maybe 3 or 4 hours in Nevada. But once you get up into northern Nevada and the Elko and the Ely areas, it is a huge hunting community up there. So we do have those similarities. You just have to travel a little bit farther. But as far as the outdoor, that really depends on what you're looking for. If you like that desert outdoor lifestyle, then Las Vegas and Nevada are going to be great for you. But if you like the woods and the lakes and the rivers, then Nashville might be the place for you. But there's so many different things that you can do in Nevada, and going up north, you can get a little bit of a taste of what that Tennessee life is like.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's the outdoors here, man.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, guys. If you have a city that you want us to do a comparison on, make sure you drop it down in the comments. Every time somebody's put one on in the comments so far, we've made sure that we put it on the list, and I think we've actually gotten to most of those already.
I think we have.
So, we're very responsive here. We want to make sure we're making the content that you guys are asking for. So if you got a city you want us to do a comparison on, go ahead and drop it down below. You know what? We still need to do Orlando. That's the one that we haven't done yet.
We do need to do Orlando.
Maybe we'll get that one here next week.
Maybe we should just go to Disney World and do it from there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right.
So guys, if you're looking to move to Las Vegas, make sure you reach out to the Moody Olson team. Nobody's going to work harder for you. All of our information is right there in the description below. Give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email. Put something in the comments. We do read the comments and we do respond to the comments. If you need help with lending, make sure that you reach out to our good partners, Steve Schauer and Linda Vo over at Security National Mortgage. They're some of the best in the business. Steve has been doing this for over 20 years right here in Las Vegas. They can help you find out what you qualify for. They can help you find out what kind of rate you can get. And if they need to, they can give you a roadmap to get where you need to go. So that if you're not qualified for the house you want to buy right now, sit down with Steve and Linda, let them take you through the process of how to get there. They'll show you what you need to do as far as taking care of debt, as far as taking care of your income, whatever the case may be. Steve and Linda can help. They're absolutely fantastic. Their contact information also in the description below. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button, smash that bell icon so you get notified whenever we put out a new video. We put out 2 every week. We try to make the best real estate related content here in Las Vegas to help you and your family make the best decision possible. Remember, whether you're moving here next week, next month, or next year, the Moody Olson team is here for you. Until next time, guys, I'm Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we're out of here.